Coming up on Celtics Today by Chat Sports, we're going to be talking about the NBA Eastern Conference first-round playoff schedule, which has been announced. I'm going to let you guys know when and where the Boston Celtics are playing, but the first-round opponent is still yet to be determined. In the back half of the show, Joe Mazzulla is either a genius or he's an absolute lunatic. We're going to break down his first and second practice ahead of the NBA postseason, if it's really working or not. But just in case you guys aren't getting enough of your Boston Celtics coverage, well, I am the host of Celtics Today by Chat Sports, but I also love to live tweet as well. So if you guys need a reason to go ahead and follow me on Twitter, you're going to find Celtics memes, Celtics highlights. I'm going to give you a shout out on our next watch party if you do hit that follow button. I'm constantly putting my 2 cents in there, and I'm constantly arguing with Nick Roloff. So if you guys want me to always say F Rolly, you can find it on Twitter as well. So like I said, the Boston Celtics first round playoff schedule has been announced. We are still waiting for the Eastern Conference play-in games to finish to figure out who we're going to play starting on Sunday. But just to really give you guys a full timeline here of when the Celtics are going to start their run to Banner 18, Game 1 is going to be this Sunday at 1 p.m. Eastern Time. Game 2, they're going to have a few days to rest on Wednesday. Game 3 will be on Saturday at 6 p.m. Eastern Time, and Game 4 will fall on Monday, and that is still yet to be determined of that time. Moving on to if the needed games happen, but Game 5 would be on Wednesday, May 1st. Game 6 would be on Friday, May 3rd. Game 7 on Sunday, May 5th. Of course, those little asterisks do mean if needed. And by the way, the Boston Celtics played this season. Let's hope they don't need it, all right? There are, however, 4 teams the Boston Celtics could possibly play here. The Philadelphia 76ers, the Miami Heat, Chicago Bulls, and Atlanta Hawks. I know the game starts tonight, and the final result will come out on Friday, but if I had to pick, it's either going to be number 7 or number 8. We're going to get a nice little rematch there, but hopefully it's going to be the Miami Heat. I want some revenge. I've been waiting to show up Jimmy Buckets since last year, so I want the Miami Heat in the first round. Who do you guys want? Go on ahead and pick one to play in the first round, which, of course, like I just showed you guys on that schedule, will start on Sunday. Go on ahead and type ATL for Atlanta. Type CHI for Chicago, PHI for Philly, and MIA for Miami. Draymond Green of the Golden State Warriors jumped on the Draymond Green Show and discussed who he thinks is going to make it into the first round in the 8th seed going up against the Boston Celtics. And he said, look, the 76ers and the Miami Heat, both of those teams want to avoid Boston in the first round. This is 2 teams battling not to face the Boston Celtics. So if you win that game, you get the Knicks, which I think both of those teams think they can beat the Knicks. But with both of those teams believing that, it's going to be a bloodbath. This is just 2 teams battling not to face the Boston Celtics. Draymond Green has all the faith in the world in the Celtics taking over the Eastern Conference Finals. So if you're starting to think of these play-in games, the number 7 and number 8 seed, it's pretty much just Joel Embiid and Jimmy Butler going head-to-head saying, you get Tatum. No, you get Tatum. No, you get Tatum. Nobody wants to play the Boston Celtics in the first round. They're scared. They can have the Knicks if they want it. We know Tatum's ready. We know the Celtics are ready. They've showed us all season long that they're ready. Tatum said today after practice, I'm extremely hungry and excited for playoffs. But Joe Mazzulla has had some pretty interesting practices leading up to the Celtics postseason run. So I want to break that down here in just a few moments on the back half of the show. Before I get into Joe Mazzulla's really crazy antics, I do want to tell you guys how you can go ahead and test your skills in the number 1 daily fantasy sports app in America, Prize Picks. I'm playing it. Producer Chip is playing it, and there are a lot of good NBA games happening here tonight, and Prize Picks knows that as well. All you guys have to do is pick between 2 to 6 players and just pick more or less on a player's projected stats, and that's how you can win up to 100 times your money on any entry. And the good news is that Prize Picks constantly offers promotions, whether it's Taco Tuesday, Flex Friday, or they also know when some big games are coming up. So even for today's games, if you pick 3 NBA teams in picks, they're going to protect your play. You can get up to $20 of a protected play, win, or get your money back. So I picked 3 NBA picks here. Jimmy Butler to have more than 23.5 points. Tyrese Maxey and Trae Young to have more than 6 three-pointers made combined. And I got Jovic having more than 6.5 points. These are my picks. You can copy or make your own. Just go to prizepicks.com/CLNS. Use that promo code CLNS for a first-time deposit match up to $100. Pick more, pick less. It is truly that easy. I know a lot of teams in the Eastern Conference, hence Chipper's 76ers here, have been looking at the Celtics like they're getting a vacation this week. They secured the first seed. They don't have to think about the play-in tournament. They're just looking forward to Sunday. But that is so far from the truth. The Celtics have had a crazy hard week of practice leading into the postseason. Mazzulla is actually calling it the training camp for playoffs. You got your training camp for the regular season, which you do in the months of June through August, maybe even September, and you start your play in October. But now Joe Mazzulla is really upping the ante and adding different tactics to really throw off the Celtics and make them prepared for what's to come. Number one, they ended this practice today on Tuesday by watching the 2008 NBA Finals Boston Celtics champions film. Of course, there's a lot you can take from those legends. Ray Allen, you got Rajon Rondo, you got Kevin Garnett. We all know the Celtics were legit back in 2008, but Jrue Holiday had a very realistic approach to Joe Mazzulla's approach on watching that film, saying, obviously, we had a different team than this one here, speaking of the 2008 team. So things might be slightly different, but I think we just kind of figured out that it's going to be hard, and you have to adjust and be open-minded to be able to adjust. That's one tactic that Joe Mazzulla is trying to show these Boston Celtics. Look, this franchise done it, but this team can do it again. Not to mention, before the practice even started, they went on ahead and started implementing all of these full court drills without dribbling the basketball. Joe Mazzulla then had something to say about this, just saying relying on your teammates without having to dribble is going to force you to really think outside of the box. He's really trying to not only sharpen their physicality, but sharpen their mindset. Once again, another reason why I love Jrue Holiday is because he talks to media after practice. He goes, that one? I was not expecting that one. You got to come into practice today. Can you imagine to start dribbling the ball? And the coach is like, put the balls up. In high school, that meant I'm running my ass off. But apparently for Joe Mazzulla, he wants you guys to rely on your teammates without the use of dribbling. Hopefully that does not make them accustomed to not dribbling here in the NBA postseason, but I do like the tactics so far. Number 3, which we said on yesterday's video, he is playing 300 level decibel crowd simulation noises into the arena that scream defense, defense, to really make them approach a playoff environment. Joe Mazzulla ended today's practice by telling media what he thinks about the tactics that he's trying to perform here with the Boston Celtics. You got to reestablish the habits and the things you build throughout the year. At the same time, you can't take them for granted. So I thought these guys did a good job with the physical and mental approach to a day like today's, the first day of a very long journey, however long that may be. So I thought we came with the right mindset. Now, with those 3 very few drills that I mentioned about Joe Mazzulla's practices, do you guys agree with this method, or do you think there are actual things that the Celtics could work on? Personally, if they don't have an overtime plan, if they have not worked on late game executions and end of quarter executions, then I'm going to be pissed. You can put anything else in there that you want as long as you actually address some of the things they needed to work on ahead of the postseason. So type your Y for yes, type your N for no. And like I said, follow me on Twitter. I'm not calling it X. AR Barefoot's where you can find me. Find my live tweets, find my funny memes, and as always, F Rolly.